Hello guys, John back with you again. And yes, I'm eating sweeties. What's the point in having loads of sweets around Christmas time unless you're going to eat them? Okay, so I'm eating some fudge at the moment. It's quite nice. Kind of a bit hard. It got a little bit hard because I had it out in the cold. So it's chewy, and I quite like it. Anyway, we're into the sort of the final part of this the weathering. Okay, now there are loads and loads of different types of weathering you can do. I'm showing you a couple. These are basic ones, just kind of to get you started and get you in the humour for trying out things. Like I said, this whole little mini series is all based at the beginner, at somebody who's never really tried too much weathering, afraid to even try it. So here are a couple of the basics, and like I did with the scratching, went a bit overboard. Didn't go too overboard, say, with the dot filtering and the streaking. Ended up with some. It's all dry now, and we've ended up with some quite nice effects. As you can hear, I mean, look at there. That's nice little sort of a rust effect there and that. Okay, let's get it up a little bit closer. So as you see, we're getting some nice effects. Okay. With that dot filtering, we're getting a variation of streaking colours, and you know, like I said, it's something to play with. You know, get whatever you're comfortable with, but you're getting different kind of different shades in there, in just the basic paints. Okay, and on the top, then we've got more of that kind of. Just different colours mushed in there. Now there's loads more you can do. Like I said, you can go into pigments and all that kind of stuff. But these are just some basic ones that I'm going to show you, and you can develop your own little skills from there on in. Right. So the last thing we're going to do is basically a pin wash. Now, what a pin wash is going to do, it's going to highlight lines where two things meet. Bolts and bolt heads, that kind of thing, right? So what we do is make down a wash. We won't go into making down a wash because we've done that a couple of times now at this stage, but make it down quite liquidy as opposed to, say, our other washes. Okay, you want it pretty black. So when it comes to raised bolts like we have here, just a little bit on the top, along the top of the bolt, right? Let the wash swim around the bolt. Okay, let the wash do the job. Okay. No, that is actually still quite a little bit, not really dark enough. So it's more than likely going to take 1 or 2 coats for this to actually work. But you can see it there, down along those. Now just leave that dry. Like I said, we might have to go back and give it a second coat if it's not enough. But as it dries, it will tone back. So don't be afraid too much of saying, oh, it's too dark, it's too dark. Because remember, like I said, if it is too dark, we can always remove it. Exactly, we can always go back and remove it. Okay, so see what I mean? There, about along the outline of that box there. Got more of those rivets here. Just a little bit onto each rivet. Around little plates like that. Okay. Now onto the roof. Same idea again. We got these pre-molded on hatches, and they kind of, if you don't give them a bit extra little bit of a wash or whatever you want to use, they won't really stick out and look that important, shall we say. But by giving them a wash, it'll make them stand out, make them noticed. Stand up and be noticed. That's another way of applying a pin wash, is just to wash the whole top of that and let the extra soak off down the sides. Even brush it down off the sides of it. Okay. The way that literally just flowed around the side. And that kind of that square box. If you can see the square box there. Right, you can see now. A little bit of wash down there. Let it soak into it. Okay. Around any raised detail. And remember, you can always go back in, and you should always go back in and clean up afterwards. We know how to clean up. It's just a bit of white spirit on a clean but moist brush, and you can clean away any of the excess or any, say, tide marks, all that kind of stuff. Just clean them off. And if you over clean it and you clean off all your wash, just go back and apply some more. Simple as that. And then you'll learn by playing with it how much to use, how dark to make your wash. It's all trial and error. It's all, you'll find your own way. It's pointless me telling you, oh, mix it to this and mix it to that, because that's what I like. That's what I like using. Do you know what I mean? So find your own. Find what you're comfortable with, because at the end of the day, it's your kit. You're the one that you want to impress. And believe me, when you do a kit and you do your weathering and it all dries in, and you sit back and look at it then the following day, I mean, you look at it and you go, wow. You're impressed with what you look at. That's the buzz. That's the real excitement part of it. Okay? That to me is why I do all this. I look back at it and then I say, my God, I did that. Oh, I can't believe I did that. And it amazes me at times, and how, when you think of it, how simple it actually is, but how impressive it looks for a finish. Okay? So, don't be afraid to try things. Give it a go, give it a lash. Play with it, experiment with it. That's the whole point of it. Learn new techniques, and the easiest way to learn new techniques is to try them out. Trial and error, trial and error. I mean, you don't know if it won't work unless you try it. You might come up with some mad radical ideas yourself, and if you do, give it a go. See, does it work? You never know, you might come back and teach me something, because I'm always willing to learn. I know that my way isn't, say, the best way. It's just a way that works for me. A way that I can do it nice and simple, without spending a fortune on pre-made products that somebody else is getting sort of half my fun out of it, if you know what I mean. Because some of the fun for me is when I make a wash and I put it on and it dries in and it looks absolutely fabulous. No, fabulous as far as I'm concerned. It may not be fabulous as far as you're concerned, But to be quite honest with you, I don't mean this is to be kind of insulting in any way, shape or form. I'm doing this to impress me, not to impress you, not to impress anybody, just me. That's why we all do our models. I mean, at the end of the day, it's us that are sitting up in our rooms, locked away from society. Technically, that's what it is, isn't it? We're the ones that lock ourselves away for this hobby. And if at the end of the day you're only kind of doing it for somebody else, or to win a competition for what? Why would you want to win a competition? For yourself, okay? For the accolation. To show yourself that, wow, I'm improving at this. You know? And if that's the line you want to go down, then off you go. You go for it. And yeah, you can win competitions on homemade products the whole way. Because remember, at the end of the day, all these shop-bought products are basically the same thing. It's just somebody else is doing the work in making it for you. Making it more convenient. Okay? That's all they are. They make things convenient. Okay, they may flow in a little bit better, you know, in around panel lines and all that kind of thing. They may flow better than say the products you make yourself. But the more you make a wash, the more you play around with it, the more you improve it. Add things like flow improvers or whatever they are. I've heard of them. I haven't a clue what they are. It's one of those things in the artist's portfolio, bits and pieces that artists have. You know, these little tips of the trade and little tools and little things. But remember, go discover them yourself. Because when you go off using products, you're letting somebody else take that little bit of excitement from you. A little bit of discovery. I mean, I went down there for a while. I was using pigments to do all my weathering. Now you end up with a nice finish for it. At the moment I'm using all oils. 6 months ago I wouldn't have dreamed of using oil paints. I had them there. I tried them, failed miserably and gave up. But then I said to myself, no, I won't give up. I'll keep trying. So I picked them back up again. Started playing around with the formula rather than going for what I'd seen already. And by playing around with things, I found my own way of doing it. And my own way of doing it, I impressed myself. Okay, I didn't copy someone's style, but I learned from their style. I used bits of it. Now see all these little dots? I call them dots. It's where I put the brush on for the wash to kind of soak off and into the model. Don't worry about them. Don't try to clean them. Not just yet. Leave them. Leave them until the whole thing is kind of dry. And then go clean them off. Because if you clean them off when they're dry, for one, they're easier to clean off. Okay, without removing everything all over again, you know. And for two, you might want to give it another coat. Do you get me? Like I'm putting this on now, and that looks grand and dark as far as I'm concerned. But I might want it darker. I might give it that one coat and say to myself, it's dark, but I actually want them to stand out a bit more. So I'll give them a second coat. So what are you doing then? You're cleaning off these little spots again. And the more you clean off these little spots, remember, because you're cleaning off what's underneath that as well. So your previous bit of of weathering, the original wash, the original dot filtering, streaking, all that kind of stuff. That is slowly getting cleared away as well. Okay, so we'll just show you a quick way of doing cleaning off now. Is just, say, even with your brush, your ordinary brush that I was using for the wash there. Use that to clean off any bits of excess. Remember, you don't have to kind of clean it away completely. Blend it into it. Because remember, one of our washes was a black wash, a dirt and grime wash. It's easy for me to say, don't put too much on your brush, but what's too much? That's something you'll have to learn for yourself. The only way you're going to learn is to try it. So don't be afraid to try it, lads. Out there, give it a go. Remember, life itself is a learning curve. So just get stuck in and do it. Don't be afraid. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that, lads. My next step now for this, believe it or not, just let that dry in, have a look at it. It might need, like I said, I mean, even here now, it's all kind of dried in already around these raised bolts here. So I'll just give them another little touch. Remember, this stage of it can go on for quite some time. You could be doing this for a whole evening, even with a small little kit like this. Well, as when I say small little kit, it's actually quite a big kit really, but small little amounts of pin washes that I'm doing, just leave them dry,